In this demo, I'd like to show you how you can add and retrieve media. I've already prepared an application, and to easily demonstrate stuff, I've put each example in its own route. So when I hit this route, this code will be executed. I've also already prepared the article model, so it implements has media and it uses the interacts with media trait. I've also added a last function to easily retrieve the last created model. So what are we going to do in this first example? We are going to create an article model, we are going to add some media to it, and we are going to add that to the media collection. In add media, you can put a path to a file that you want to add. And in my demo directory, I have this picture of a beautiful library in Dublin. Now let's visit that route. I have prepared an artisan command that allows me to easily visit the route. So add media to library, and let's see what has happened. So the library Dublin file doesn't exist in demo anymore. It was moved to the media library. And in this application, the media library is located in public, media, and there we have the file. You can specify where the media library should reside in the config file. If we take a look at the media library config file, then you can see that we can choose a disk name here. Here it is named media. When we take a look at the file systems config file, then we should see a disk with that name, and here you can configure it however you want. I've used a local disk which has its root in this directory. Of course, the media library also supports other drivers than the local driver, but that's something for a next video. Let's now head over to the database and see what was created there. So if I go to the articles table, then you can see that we just created one article. And if we take a look at the media table, then you can see that there was one media created and it is associated with that article. In the table, you can also see the collection name, more on that later, the name that is used for this entry, the file name, the MIME type, the disk it resides on, and a couple of things more. Let's head back to PHP Storm. Now that you've added your first file to the media library and associated it with the article model, let's see how you can retrieve it. Let me open up a quick Tinker session here, and let's retrieve the last created article. So remember that I added that last function. Here is where we can use it. So we've created an article, and how you can get to all the media is with the get media function. So if I type get media, you can see that we get a media collection back. And in that collection, there's only one item right now. Because it is likely that you'll work with a first media item so much, we created a dedicated function for it called getFirstMedia. And now we get that media object directly. Now imagine you want to put an URL in your view to this image. The media library can help you with that. On any media object, you can call the getURL function. And this function will generate a URL to the media. Right now, the media library generated a local URL, but if your media item resides on S3, it will generate an URL to S3. I'll demonstrate that later. You can also use getPath if you want to have the absolute path to the file. Let's take a look at a second example. So in the previous example, we only just added one file. Now we are going to add multiple files. Add multiple files. And let's get the last article again and take a look at the media that was added. And here you can see that the media collection now contains two items, a first one and a second one. If I take a look at the database, then you can see that we added two files and we associated it with the same article. And again, if I want to have a URL to any of those, I can do article. I am going to get sorry about that. I'm going to get the latest one. I'm going to get maybe the first media item from it, and I'm going to get the URL. And now I'm getting a URL to the second uploaded media. And of course, those files are present in the file system as well. Now these directories here, 1, 2, and 3, they reference the ID of the uploaded media. How the media library generates a name for these directories can be customized as well, and I'll explain that in a dedicated video. For now, let's go to the last example that I'll show you in this video, and that is how you can add media from a request. In the previous example, we've just added media using a path to an existing file. Here we are going to upload a file and associate that uploaded file to the media library. If we perform a GET request to this route, we are going to execute the create function of the controller, and if we post something, we are going to execute the store method. Nothing special going on here. Let's take a look at the article controller. In the create method in this demo application, we simply display a view here, and we have a very simple form. It is an input element of type file and a submit button. In the store method of this controller, we are going to create an article, and we are going to use the function add media from request. This function expects the name of the key in the request that you use to upload the file. So we used image here. Let's visit the route in our browser. So add media from request, and let's choose a file. Let's use this image of an expensive car and upload it. So the file has been uploaded. Let's take a look at how that looks like in the media library. So a new item was created. Here we have that expensive car image. If we take a look at the database, then we'll see that a new media item was created for that expensive car, and it is associated with a newly created article. And again, I can retrieve it with article last, get first media, get URL. And remember, if you need the path, you can just do get path. And that is your quick 101 of the media library. Of course, there are many other features which will be demonstrated in the next couple of videos.